You don't need a six-figure salary or a business to become a millionaire. I used to think that building wealth was out of reach on a 9 to 5 salary until a few simple strategies changed everything for me. So in this video, I'm going to share how you can become a millionaire on a 9 to 5 salary, and I'll break it down step by step to make it super practical. Let's get into it. Step number one, build your mindset. Before you even think about starting to build wealth, you need to know one thing. That's your reason why. Why exactly do you want to become a millionaire? Is it because you want to retire early? Do you want to support your family? Or maybe you just want freedom? Knowing this is important because it's what's going to keep you going when things get tough or progress feels slow. For me, my why was freedom. So I like to travel. I like to take at least 2 big trips a year. And I'm sure, as you know, when you're working a 9 to 5, it isn't as flexible. You have to ask for time off, work around your corporate jobs, deadlines. And for me, I work in finance, so we have a lot of deadlines at different times of the year, and it's a whole thing. So I really wanted the freedom to travel where I wanted, when I wanted, and to fully live life on my terms. And here's one of the biggest mindset shifts that I made. I realized that my corporate job wasn't a ceiling. Instead of seeing it as being restricted, I started realizing that I could use my 9 to 5 paycheck to build wealth and become a millionaire. And that mindset shift was important because without it, none of the other steps would have worked. So take a second to really think about your why. Think about the future life that you want to create for yourself, the lifestyle that you want to live, and write it down, because later I'll share the mindset shift that separates millionaires on a 9 to 5 from everybody else. Step number 2, master the basics. Okay, so let's get practical for a second. Becoming a millionaire on a 9 to 5, it's not about taking risky bets or investing in crypto or overnight success. It's about boring habits repeated consistently. So here's what this looks like. The first step is to always know your numbers. This is super important because clarity is power. And when I say numbers, I mean your income minus your expenses. That will give you your surplus. And your surplus is what you're going to use to build wealth and essentially become a millionaire. Now, the easiest way to do this is to use a budget tracker. Having a budget tracker will allow you to see where all of your money is going. So you can see if you're overspending in any other areas that you may not have realized, and it will allow you to make adjustments so that you could keep more of your money to put towards wealth building activities. I have a budget template I use that I can leave a link in the description box so you can grab a copy for free. Next, you want to automate your bills and savings because you want to make the important things as easy as possible and remove any friction. So have a look at your bills. You want to ensure that all of your bills are set up via direct debit and they leave your account on the same day. Same with your savings. That way it's gone, it leaves your account, you don't have to think about it. Next, you want to build your emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. This is your safety net. So if your car breaks down or your boiler needs repairs, you have a buffer that you can dip into without having to draw for your credit card. This does not include your subscriptions, so Amazon Prime, Netflix, gym. None of that is essential. You can survive each month without that. It's important to keep these outgoings as minimal as possible because that will increase the surplus that you can use towards building wealth. Next, you want to crash any high interest debt because debt is the biggest wealth killer. And when I say high interest debt, I mean things like credit cards or payday loans, any high consumer debt. Make a list of all of the debts you have and the interest rate that you owe and plan to pay it off as soon as possible. You can use the avalanche method, which is where you pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first, or you can use the snowball method. The method you choose doesn't matter as much. However, the avalanche method is the smartest choice financially because it will essentially save you from paying money towards interest payments. But it's more important to be consistent, so just choose the method that works best for you. Next, you want to avoid lifestyle creep. And lifestyle creep is essentially where your outgoings or your expenses increase to match your income level. And once you do that, then you're reducing the surplus that you can use towards wealth building activities. So if your income does go up, you want to keep your expenses steady because that will increase the surplus that you have to put towards becoming a millionaire. And the truth is, most everyday millionaires actually live like this. I know you think millionaires are probably spending loads of money and living this lavish lifestyle, but that's not necessarily true. One of my favorite personal finance books is The Millionaire Next Door. And in that book, they surveyed millionaires and they found that they're actually really, really frugal. They really live a modest lifestyle. They drive older cars, so they're not necessarily driving luxury foreign cars. They drive an older model car. I think one of the most popular models was a Toyota. And they're not even buying it brand new, they're buying a second-hand older car. And they also really live below their means because they're focused on building wealth, not spending money. I actually have a video where I break down the 8 wealth lessons I learned from that book, The Millionaire Next Door. I'll link it somewhere here. And here's the truth. Mastering the basics alone will not make you a millionaire, but the next step is where your money will actually start working for you. Step number 3, start investing early. In order to become a millionaire, you need to be an owner. That's the reality. You need to own assets that will generate you a return. So I was watching this interview with Wall Street Trapper, who's one of my favorite finance investors, and his interviews are always super motivating. And in this interview, he said that wealthy people do 3 things. They invest in the stock market, they buy real estate, and they start a business. And I was thinking that's true because everyone who's wealthy or a millionaire they've done one of those three things, sometimes even more than one. So I'm going to say the same to you. Choose one. For me, I chose investing because I knew I couldn't do all three, so I had to pick. And for me, investing was the clear choice because it was the simplest, low friction way to start building wealth on a 9 to 5 salary. And it requires less capital than investing in a property or starting a business. And here's something that people get wrong, and I understand why, because it's what we're taught in school, but saving alone will not make you rich. Here's what I mean. So let's take Samantha. She saves £10,000 a year in a savings account at a 1% interest rate. At the end of the year, she's earned £100 in interest. Now let's look at Simone. Simone takes that same £10,000, but she invests it in an index fund at an 8% return. At the end of the year, she's earned £800 just in interest without lifting a finger. So now her money's working harder for her. And next year, even if she doesn't do anything else, that money is going to start compounding. So instead of earning 8% on just £10,000, she's now going to be earning 8% on 10,800. That's the power of compound interest on your money really working for you. Here's your roadmap to get started. Number 1, build your starter emergency fund. We already covered this in step 2, but this is really important before you even think about investing in the stock market. Because if you don't, let's say you invest, then an emergency pops up, then you're going to have to take that money out of your investment account, which is going to defeat the object. So have this in place first. Next, you want to max out your retirement accounts. Now, as you're working a 9 to 5, you want to take full advantage of your employer pension match because that's essentially free money and you don't want to leave it on the table. So here in the UK, we're automatically enrolled in our employer pension. But if that's not happened automatically for you, then you can speak to HR. And whatever match the employer is offering, you want to match it. Next, you want to invest in index funds or ETFs because they are low cost, they're diversified, so that means that they're lower risk and all your eggs aren't in one basket. If you're new to investing, I know this might feel scary or confusing, but I promise you it's not as complex as you think. I have a video that goes more into depth about index funds and ETFs, so I'll link it somewhere here. And you want to ensure that you're reinvesting your dividends because that will help you grow your money and build wealth faster, and you want to do it consistently. And if you're thinking, I don't earn enough to start investing, I promise you that's not true. You can start with £100 or even as little as £10 and start building wealth. I started with £250 because that's all I could afford at the time. And over a few years, I built a 5-figure portfolio effortlessly. Once I started to make more money, I increased the amount, but the point is I started small. Think of investing as planting seeds. It starts slow, but eventually those seeds start growing and working for you. And here's where most people get stuck. They think that their salary is fixed, but your money can grow, and we'll get into that in the next step. Step 4, increase your earning potential. Your job is your biggest wealth building tool, so use it. So this could look like negotiating your salary if you're going for a new position or asking for a raise. Every year, you should be getting a raise at the very least to keep up with inflation. But if you've taken on more skills or more responsibility, then you should be bringing that to your manager and asking for a raise. But when you do, ensure that you have backup. So don't just say, I deserve a raise. Go with evidence. Say, I worked on this project that yielded these results, so this is why I deserve a raise. If that doesn't work, you can change companies. That might sound harsh, but a different company will pay you even more money to do the same job, or change the way you work. I did this myself. So for me, I work in accounting and finance as a finance analyst. And a few years ago, I switched from working as a permanent employee to a contractor earning a day rate. And when you earn a day rate, you make a lot more money. And that literally increased my wealth building by so much. So if you can, look at different ways to work because there are other options. You can also build skills that make you invaluable. So look at high income skills. One of my favorite Warren Buffett quotes is, the best investment you can make is in yourself. And I completely agree. So invest in yourself in the form of taking online courses to increase your knowledge, get a mentor. If you can't get a mentor in person, then you can find mentors online. There are plenty on YouTube that you can watch and learn from, and invest in skills that will make you more valuable and pay you a return. Now that's how you turn your 9 to 5 paycheck into a wealth building engine. And once that's up and running, you can add multiple streams of income and it will accelerate everything. So that's what we'll get into in the next step. Step 5, add multiple streams of income. Your salary is the foundation, but additional income streams are the accelerators. This could look like starting a side hustle, freelancing, or even building passive income streams. If you can't think of anything, use the skills in your 9 to 5 job to offer a service. Offering a service is the easiest way to make extra money. That's what I did. So as I said before, I work in accounting and finance. So the first side hustle I started was offering bookkeeping services to small businesses. It was super easy to get started because I was using skills that I already had, and I was able to turn that into a business and build additional income streams. And here's the most powerful thing. If you were to earn just £200 from your side hustle and invest it in the stock market, over 30 years, that could turn into 70k. Think about it, that small amount can turn into that amount of money just by putting it in the right place. Because all that extra money you earn is fuel for your wealth building fund. But none of that matters if you don't start thinking in decades. Step 6, think in decades. Becoming a millionaire on a 9 to 5 salary is not about luck or any get rich quick schemes. It's about boring habits repeated over a long period of time. Think about it. If you were to invest £500 every month in the stock market at an 8% return, in 30 years, that's 750k. Or if you were to invest £1,000 every month in the stock market, in 30 years, that's 1.5 million. Think about that. Look how much wealth you could build by being disciplined and repeating those boring habits consistently over decades. Now, at this point, if you followed all of the steps and you've increased your income and added multiple streams of income, you should hopefully be at a point where you can add another asset to your wealth building engine. For example, you could buy an investment property. If not, you can stick to investing, just increase the amounts that you invest, and I promise you, you can become a millionaire on a 9 to 5 salary. Now that you know what's possible, the next step is action. So check out my video on the tiny habits that will make you rich. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more videos to help you on your finance journey. Don't forget, stay rich in mindset and the money will follow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.